time, I'd like to begin the March 1st, 2022 regular Board of Trustee meeting. Can I have a roll call, please?
Switek?
Here.
Augustine?
Here. And we'll stand for the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, Chief Setner is excused, and we've decided that we're going to move to Mike first. Is that correct? All right, first I'm going to do these minutes.
Okay.
I'm going to make a motion to approve the minutes from the February 17th emergency meeting, February 15th special meeting, and the February 17th regular trustee meeting.
Second.
Seconded by Sweattick. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
How did you say? You said one regular, one emergency, and
I
one
actually
special?
wrote it down from here. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just checking.
217 is emergency.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was writing something else.
Very
Thank you.
good. We're going to move to Mr. Bahari from the service department. Welcome.
How's everybody doing?
Good. How are you?
Not too good. I really don't have anything to bring to the meeting tonight. Just a couple updates. The grant that we applied for through ODOT, we did not get anything for that. I think it was Melissa was telling me she found the list on the Otarma website, and nobody from
OTA.
Medina, nobody from Medina County got any grants. So
Mhm.
it was what was it? I believe it was an $8 million grant, and I thought from my email it said 1,200 some townships applied for it. A total of like 137 million is what they said for an $8 million grant, and it seemed like it was a lot of very small townships just that were getting the grants. So,
Teeny townships that we've
Yeah.
never heard of before.
a lot far south from when I kind of looked at that list. So it was a long shot. It was worth a
Well,
shot, but
You did a fine job though, Mike. Thank you.
we tried. That's all you can do. The only other thing I have would be update on the bucket truck. It's coming along. Heard from them today. They replaced a couple more hoses on it. There was enough money there to do the inspection, so we should be receiving a call from them for that to be complete. So that's about pretty much everything I have for right now. So, I mean, doors at Town Hall still waiting on a quote. So
Would that estimate come in at, Mike?
the first one, about 12 grand
For 3 doors.
Mhm.
from Pella. Yeah. That
A
was
lot.
this door, the door over here next to Martha's office, and then one man door up at our shop.
Mhm.
So hopefully the other ones do a little better.
And then for the historical building HVAC, you're waiting on the inspector.
I'm waiting on to get a hold of the guy I wanted to get a hold of the guy from Precision that did
Okay.
it. So
And then I did talk to Police Chief Setner about his doors, and he's just looking for the fob system. He doesn't need to replace the doors themselves.
okay.
So we can
Yeah,
either
that
work
was-
collectively or,
That was one thing Pella said they couldn't do it, or they had to outsource that to somebody else to do it. So waiting to see, like I said, getting a quote through ASAP, see what they can do, see what happens. So try to find somebody to do that.
very good. Did you have anything else to
That's
discuss
it.
with Mike? Are you okay to let him go? Does anyone from the audience have anything to discuss with Service Superintendent Bahari?
Thank you for the efforts on the grant. Sorry we didn't get it.
Yeah, it was worth a shot.
Fine job, just repeat.
Yep.
Repeat.
Yep.
Thank you, Mike. All right, Chief Grossenbaum.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
First, I'd like to request to move firefighter paramedic Jared Solomon and Dave Inneman from the $14.35 rate to their full pay of $18 per the organizational minutes, effective March 7th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Switek?
Yes.
Augustine?
Yes.
Next is request to move firefighter EMT Jared Bonnet and Matthew Evans from $14.35 to their full pay of $15.76 per the organizational minutes, effective March 7th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Switek?
Yes.
Augustine?
Yes.
Next, request acceptance for resignation of firefighter intermediate Jessica Roberts, effective immediately. You guys have a copy of her letter there.
Do you want to do the two together?
Yeah, and the next one is request resignation of firefighter intermediate Andrew Crawford, effective immediately. He took a job back down and moving back down south where he lived and grew up and worked with those fire departments way down in southern Ohio.
Right, and we knew Jessica's was
Yeah,
coming.
we knew Jessica's was leaving.
She's got personal things
Yep.
going on. Okay, so moved.
Second.
Swedek,
Yes.
Augustine.
Yes.
The only other thing I had, there's no blood drive in March because of Buzzard Day. That was going to be the only weekend they can do it. So we're looking for something in April.
Okay.
And once the Red Cross gets back to my wife, I'll share that date with everybody.
Very good.
But that's all I have. Thank you.
Did you guys get an award?
No, not yet. They haven't announced yet. They have not announced yet.
Okay.
We're supposed to be in some type of board, but they have not announced yet because of the how large our blood drives have been.
Very good. Thank you, Chief.
EMS. You said the grant. signed
Yes.
grant.
Yeah. Well, it's getting signed tomorrow by Monique.
Does anybody in the audience have anything for Chief Grossenbaugh before he leaves?
How much were the raffle tickets? They posted about the raffle.
Yes, they're 5 for 100, and I think they're $25 a piece for the gun raffle tickets. Our association's selling gun raffle tickets right now. The drawing is mid-April, but if you call down there or stop down there, the guys and gals can get the tickets. They have them available. That's all I have.
Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you guys very much. Have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you. You too.
See you later. Good seeing you guys.
We're going to run right into zoning. Are you ready?
Special pen is here.
Special pen is here. We have a minor subdivision, I apologize, from Mr. Garapek's property. He had split off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lots.
Oh, previously.
And nope, you're right, 5 previously. And this is now considered a minor subdivision, anything 5 or more. So we're going to go ahead and sign off on that.
Well, to clarify my discussion with Tom, anything up to 5 lots is considered a minor subdivision.
Mm-hmm.
If he was more than 5 lots, he'd have to go through the requirements for a subdivision. So this was done
Yep,
as a minor, and then now this is a minor.
it's a lot of minors. These connected. Yeah. Are you ready, Trustee Hvac?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you want me to continue while
Please.
Okay. I'm going to jump actually right into my presentation that I have for the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee agenda item since it's considered zoning. Bear with me a second. Okay. I created this PowerPoint presentation. I'm not going to read through the whole thing. If anybody in the audience wants it or anyone from the public wants it, I certainly will email it to them. This is in response to protect Hinckley's data that was presented to us last Tuesday's trustee work session. And I started with a timeline of events. Like I said, I'm not going to read through every single slide. We don't have a lot on the agenda, but I'm sure I don't want to bore you with the details. But what I did was I actually went through all of our meeting minutes. I'm sure I missed something, but these this language that is in this timeline is specific to the meeting minutes. And this process started back in June 15th, 2021. And as we go through, you can see kind of the dialogue that was happening amongst the trustees On July 6th, all three trustees agreed that areas such as senior housing, conservation development, and sustainability needed to be looked at. We felt that many parts of the existing 2015 comprehensive plan update still applied, and we didn't think that every single thing needed to be readdressed. I have some language here by Trustee Kalina at the time from his trustee corner for the August Hinckley record, and it's specific to the comprehensive plan. Continue on to the September 7th meeting. We talked with, we had a meeting with the OHM advisors specific to our plan and recommendation of an audit, as well as a steering committee. It was suggested at that time that I would serve as the trustee, since I would be the trustee moving on into 2022. And I kind of took it on from there. In September 21st, we sent out a questionnaire to all the public through the Hinckley record. That way we could ensure that every single person got a copy of that application. October 5th, this is a really important part, and we'll actually come back to it. The trustees discussed a tentative plan for reviewing the comprehensive plan steering committee applications, which included narrowing down candidates in a fair and unbiased manner in order to assure broad representation. October 21st, we knew we had over 90 applications. We didn't know much more than that, other than David Manley had been appointed to the zoning commission liaison for that committee by the zoning commission. We knew we would have 12 members and 3 alternates. This is the November 2021 Hinckley record. Trustee Kalina said the comprehensive plan audit steering committee will soon take shape as a number of residents have volunteered to serve in this capacity. The trustees are in the process of reviewing applications in order to select a diverse group representing a broad section of our community. The comprehensive plan audit will begin with a review of the existing plan to understand key issues and opportunities. The resident steering committee, which will be supported by professional planning, will engage the public through workshops to solicit community feedback on elements needed updating. Any recommendations to the plan will be presented to all stakeholders to prioritize next steps for implementation. Our goal is to ensure that the comprehensive plan represents the desires of the community while providing a clear vision for the future. And then we announced that we had absolutely 98 applications. And we announced how that whole process would work. We were going to be redacting the names. Each trustee would pick 15 candidates, and they would be forwarded off to the police and fire or police department for final unbiased selection. And this is an inter-office memo that was part of a recent records request, and I included it for you. It outlines the exact same thing I just told you. This is for all of the trustees. Number 1, select 15 candidates based on diversity of response and or geography, all of which has been decided by this board publicly. 2, make a copy of the applications that you've selected and give them to Suzanne. This was a really important part of the process. We did not hand deliver our applications to the police department. We gave them to Suzanne so that the police department did not know these are Trustee Kalina's applications, these are Trustee Burns' applications, these are Trustee Augustine's applications. Suzanne was the middleman for the reason of maintaining an unbiased process. At that point, Police Chief Setner and Sergeant Schroll went through to make the final selection. December 7th meeting, we had confirmation from Medina County Commissioners that we had received a $3,500 grant to offset our costs. And we worked on our contract with OHM Planning, knowing that we would conclude this process roughly about April 29th, 2022. Additionally, at that meeting, we were given the final selection by Chief Setner. We knew that the first 5 of the 15 selected were chosen by all 3 trustees. The second 5 were chosen by 2 of the trustees. The last selection was made by the police. And again, they were not identifiable. They were all redacted. We talked about our gratefulness to the community and thanked Chief Setner and Sergeant Schroll for their assistance in the process. On the December 21st trustee meeting, I made a motion to adopt the resolution to approve the committee and named all the members. At that time, the folks from Protect Hinckley snickered in the back of the room after the committee was announced and went to a social meeting stating that it was an awful committee because they had been chosen and didn't like one of the members. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. There's a video confirmation. I'm going to continue. The 2021 Board of Trustees repeatedly stated during the process that they were accepting all applications. They stressed the importance of demographics, geographic location, and diverse response. Protect Hinckley stated to us last Tuesday at the work session and in our email from them, the data shows clearly that this committee is in fact the very opposite of what the previous board promised it would be, fair and balanced. And actually, the timeline is created for that specific reason. We never said it was going to be fair and balanced board. We said that we promised a fair and unbiased selection process. That is exactly what we delivered. The 2021 board, I'm sorry, I'm talking. You can speak later. Thank you. The 2021 Board of Trustees looked at each application as a whole. What is a steering committee? And I went through this last Tuesday. Its role is to provide advice, ensure delivery of the project outputs, and the achievement of the project outcomes. The steering committee provides support, guidance, and oversight of progress. Members do not usually work on the project themselves. Members do not usually work on the project themselves. What are the next steps? The Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee will continue to meet with OHM planning in public meetings. They will collectively work to survey the community at large for the most accurate representation of what Hinckley residents would like to see updated in the comprehensive plan. OHM planning will prepare the language for the comprehensive plan audit. Members do not usually work on the project themselves. The new language will go to the 2022 Board of Trustees for approval. The Zoning Commission will most likely look to update the comprehensive plan. Look to update based on the comprehensive plan language that's created so that the zoning resolution mirrors the new adaptation, if any occurs at all. Now, one of the things that we stressed and one of the things that OHM told us over and over and over again was to look at the demographics of your selection. This is something that Protect Hinckley did not talk about. So when we look at the application responses for the steering committee that was selected, we have a very diverse group, and every single group for how many acres do you live on has representation from 3/4 acre to 125 acres. One person had previously served on the steering committee, 13 people had not. Now, this is not our total steering committee because one person didn't respond to that question at all. 11 people primarily use their land for residential, 3 people primarily use their land for agriculture. 7 of the members are age 41 to 60, 7 of the members are age 60 years or older. How many years have you lived in Hinckley? Now this one I could see is a little higher for over 20 years, but we have representation for everyone. Now, where the steering committee lives is very important in this process. OHM planning recommended citizens represent by precinct or equivalent, as was done in Medina. This is something we talked about at great length. I'm sure Trustee Burns or former Trustee Burns can talk about it too. OHM defines the steering committee as liaisons, therefore broad representation was critical. Members were selected to present Hinckley's diverse interests from wide range of backgrounds and community sectors. The committee represents Highland and Brunswick schools, 100-acre farms, regular lots, and conservation developments. So let's look at where everybody lives. All of these black pinholes that I've created document where all of our committee members live. I would say that's a pretty good, broad representation of Hinckley Township. Now, if anybody asks, this section right here in the southeast quadrant is Cleveland Metro Parks. So we don't have representation down here. The committee had subjective responses that could not be quantified by Protect Hinckley's data. I'll let you read it on your own. Bringing water infrastructure to town center would be a fine addition if also didn't bring in sewers with it. This is something that's been talked about over and over at my trustee teas, on Facebook. This was an important subjective comment. Not sure I'm informed enough to articulate a viable opinion. A water infrastructure would be nice, but if it can be done without reducing the rural appeal/feel of the center of town, I'm not sure this is viable though. How was a comment like this quantified? I do not wish to see our section of State Route 303 become like the section in neighboring Brunswick. I do not agree with bringing water infrastructure to all of Hinckley. For myself, part of the choice to live in a rural community is not having all city services. However, I do support water services for the structured development of downtown. Is that a yes or a no? So, Protect Hinckley provide us with data that's not accurate. How are they to measure the subjective responses? Some members and applicants did not respond to all questions. We have one person on the committee that didn't respond to all the questions. This automatically skews the data. Hinckley Township received 98 applications. Protect Hinckley has 100 and all of their data. I don't know where they got the extra two. One of the selected committee members declined the opportunity to serve. Was his data included in the final committee data provided by Protect Hinckley? We don't know. The steering committee selected by the 2021 Board of Trustees is a diverse cross-section of Hinckley with stress on diversity and geographic location, as was encouraged by OHM planning. The applications were considered as whole applications. We did not select members because they answered A, B, C, or D. So of the 2021 Board of Trustees each selected 15 applications. That means 45 applications went to the police station for final unbiased selection. Of the final committee members chosen, the Board of Trustees from last year selected an average, and I averaged it, 10 of the final 15, which is roughly 66%. So we had Nikki Long stand here last Tuesday and say, you, the trustees, messed this up. I think we did a fantastic job. And we had an unbiased process with an unbiased party as part of the selection process. The 2021 Board of Trustees recognized many of the divergent interests, especially those focused on by Protect Hinckley. That is why question number 17 became so critical, extremely critical in this process. Here are the committee responses. Now, I don't know if you remember number 17, but it was, what do you like or dislike about Hinckley Township? This was the most important thing that I looked at during my application process outside of demographics and geography. I'm not reading all of these. I'm going to read a few of them so you get a flavor of this committee, because this committee represents Hinckley Township beautifully. I moved to Hinckley Township for its country-like atmosphere while still having an industrial base for taxes supporting the township's needs. Also, a township with fire and police services was important, as was small government. If I need commercial shopping, then Brunswick is next door. But I have seen the township grow drastically in the last 5 years, eroding the quietness of the location. The township's location, and this means it's right pickings, as the saying goes. The plan must be balanced growth with temptation, the temptation to overdevelop. Now, I wrote these, typed these literally how they were given to us. So there will be grammar errors. I do like the access to parks, our neighborhoods, supporting the independently owned businesses in Hinckley, and the easy access to major highways. I also enjoy the quieter pace that Hinckley has to offer. I do not like that we have not felt welcomed by this community. As soon as I mentioned that I live in the trails of Redwood Falls development, residents are less friendly and have made disparaging comments. My brand new development has been referred to as an eyesore and horrid in the Hinckley, Ohio Discuss It group on Facebook. Rural yet accessible, the small town feel, the large lots, the ability to walk either in the neighborhood or the park system, get away from the hustle and bustle of everyday life and hear crickets and not car noise.
I like the Highland schools, the fact that the police and fire departments and their leadership are both approachable, available, and they keep everyone aware of what is going on in the township. I like the fact that we do not have a city tax, that our officials care about the people in the township. We have a variety of living options from 2-acre developments to 100-acre farms and even 80-year-old farms. Dislike, and this is a continuation from the same candidate. Small town politics where people feel that they know more than the trustees, make inaccurate assumptions and publish them as fact, or they attack a public official's character online, or, and I'm assuming this is in gossip group. I dislike that developers and builders seek variances on every project due to their personal financial benefit, regardless of the impact to the township. I also dislike the result of Redwood Falls. Homes at the beginning look like the standard Brunswick development with small yards that are very close together. We had people that are so different just from 3 committee members. We have people that have, over those 3 comments or 3 committee members that I've just read, love the police and fire. I have somebody on here that says they don't like the police department. This is a vast grouping of people. This is a great cross section, in my opinion. So what I've done is I've continued on and I've typed every single comment or answer to number 17. And I'm not going to go through them all today. But like I said, I am happy to make this available to anyone who would like to see it, because these comments are the reasons why these people were chosen, and the demographics and the geography. If I get a resume for you, any of you, I'm not going to judge you based on your resume. I'm going to want an interview with you, right? I'm going to want to sit down. Number 17 was our sit down with every applicant. So I think we hit all of our deliverables. And I'm going to forward this to you, Trustee Hvac, because I think it's really important for you to read through all of the comments that people have. We have this gentleman who said he was in favor of conservation developments, and then by the time you read his comment, he's actually not in favor of conservation developments. There's a lot of variables that can't be construed with the data that Protect Hinckley gave us. So I spoke with Arthur today. He called me and he said he had received Trustee Ashel's email, and he said that he never said what number to have or if we should add or not add to the committee. He said he works for us and it's our decision to do as we choose. I just ask that the people in the audience understand, and that means virtually as well, that we are community members. We're here because we care about our community. There's no reason for us to have a biased selection and a steering committee that's not really going to make a bunch of decisions. They're going to go to the public. They're going to engage the public for response. That's their job. And that was something that Arthur said at the last comprehensive plan steering committee meeting. You are liaisons, he said, to the public. Their job is to keep the process on task. So these community members who work diligently for Hinckley Township, whether they're on the BZA or the zoning commission or sitting here in front of you, have an interest in where our town is going to. And believe it or not, we probably agree on a lot more than you think. I just ask that you be respectful. We have to understand too that social media is not a place for facts. It's not. If you want the facts, pick up the phone and call me, email Jack, email Monique, and get the facts. Because we had a post last night on Hinckley, Ohio, discuss it that had anything but fact attached to it. And it's just ridiculous. I think that the people in Hinckley are being swayed by chitter chatter, and social media is exacerbating it. So, do you have any questions for me?
Only relative to the size of the committee, because I don't think we can extract members at this point. They're immersed in it. That would follow the process. And again, and I would hope that you would understand this. I talked with some individuals about it, that it is a steering committee. They're not the folks making decisions. We've hired a professional to guide us along that path. And at the end, the trustees will decide whether or not it's worth moving forward on, if any changes are needed. But with that being said, is it possible to add a few folks on there? I think that is a possibility that we could do, but I don't know. I really don't know how you get there to get the mix that any of these groups are looking for. I don't know, outside of, just pulling 3 new names out of a hat to fill it out, would that make a difference? And that's what I would say. Would we ask him again? Is that worth doing?
I could ask him that. Okay, thank you. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
And just for everyone out there, we're a meeting into this already with the consultant. We're paying this gentleman to do this for us. We've got grant money invested in it as well as township tax dollars. So, if you can look at it objectively and decide for yourself that, yeah, there's other folks looking out here. It's not just that board that you may not like or may like, that committee rather, that we can get through this. I mean, it can go in a positive direction. I don't know if you've all watched the last comprehensive plan meeting. It was very well run. He's very open to taking input from the community as well as the steering committee. And again, I think the steering committee is there to kind of keep it on track. They're not the ones making the decisions at the end of the day.
No, this board will.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I'm going to move on to you. Do you have anything for the agenda tonight?
I had a couple of quick ones. We saw something about the Zoom video being at capacity beyond.
Yes.
I looked, and it looks like there's the ability to download those videos off of there to a storage medium. Will that rectify the problem?
Well, we said at the work session that we were going to attempt to do that. I think Trustee Asher was in contact with Jeff Bart, or waiting to hear back from him,
Okay.
To see if we had the room in our hard drive. I believe we do. That's just based on my memory. I think we carry a couple terabytes, which is a costly endeavor. So we're just kind of waiting to hear back from him.
All right, because the other was to request funds to purchase a drive to download material onto, but until we know that that's a viable option, I would put that on the
You can
table.
still make the motion to buy the drive and just not buy it. You can resend it later, as opposed to waiting 2 weeks to do it again.
Well, I think we can get, because we made the decision to download it to the hard drive, as soon as we hear back from Jeff Bart and confirm that we have the room, Suzanne can just go in and do it. She can just start moving those right over to the hard drive so we have them.
Right, do we have to know where from, Martha, to make the motion?
How much are you talking money-wise?
I'm going to say 150 tops.
That's a recurring expense.
Okay,
That's-
very good.
That's a BC.
The other was something I discussed with Martha about moving forward on the bid for the renovation for the wall.
Okay.
The documents that I provided to you,
Mhm.
there is an issue in there that Martha told me about, and it was that that bid package originally had the option to email the bids in. So changing under section 1, changing the bid proposals to shall be received by the Board of Trustees, I think we'll correct that. And then can we go ahead and make that motion then, Martha, or no?
That was the only part of the bid document that I kind of stopped there when I looked at it, if you're comfortable with the rest of it, but that indicates that all the bids are to be emailed to each trustee, which is not what your
No. we don't want
motion should say or happen. And so that needs to be deleted to comply with your advertised language.
that. And just for the public's knowledge, the reason that we don't want the bid packages emailed to every trustee is because we don't want anyone to think that we're giving favoritism to a specific group based on the numbers we're seeing. So it should all go through. I think it went through Mike. Was there?
No, we're
Motion.
not even doing that. Your advertisement says that they
We're going
need
out
to
for
be
bid.
delivered here,
Oh,
At
in
the town
person.
hall.
Okay,
sealed envelopes.
perfect.
For
And
a
then we're going to open
public
them at the beginning of that
opening.
meeting.
And the week
Yes.
after.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that just may be something left over from, it just may be just an omission. So what are you proposing, Jack?
Well, I was gonna,
Are you comfortable with the bid
I am,
document?
I just, I need a publication to good date for the Gazette. I don't know. I've not done that when
I gave you have the
what you sent me,
the
yes.
draft.
But it says March blank of 22.
Right, so what did you guys decide at the work session? You discussed it.
I think it was it the work session
And
or the
you-
last meeting?
It was at the work session.
Well, we
Did you
decided on a
discuss
bid
the-
due date.
Well, no, but your advertising date, you want to do it a week from today?
Oh, I have it here. So we decided March 16 was a site visit.
And you don't
March-
need to put that in the advertising.
Right.
That's in
March 30th was the bid deadline.
Correct.
And we would open it at the April 5th meeting.
Right,
at
we did not
6:30.
discuss publishing.
Yeah, and we
That's not in my
tentatively
notes.
talked about it in a week on Tuesday, and that would give people another week for them to plan the site visit if they wanted to attend. You just need to have it, you need to give Suzanne enough time to get it in the paper.
Right.
And then you just need to give folks enough time to review it on the website or get the packet. And then if they're interested, they will show up at the site visit.
Do you think we could get it in by Friday, the 4th?
You know, we ran into that problem
Last time with
last time. I would
Let's
just
do it for the
say
next one.
Tuesday.
The following Tuesday, the 8th.
Yeah, that'll give Suzanne plenty of time. It's not going to rush her tomorrow trying to get it in
Is it going to give us enough time to have people come in for a site visit? That's only a week.
a week. I think it's a week's fine. It's not a complex project. It's just download the bid packet and see if you want to show up. They're not giving estimates. They're just coming to the site visit. If the other thing I want to make sure are all the addendums on that bid document. Because further down on that, there's 3 addendums. Jim, 3, 4? How many addendums were there?
Maybe 3.
Okay, so has that document that you have been updated with all the addendums?
I believe it has.
The architect would have them if you do that.
Okay, because that's a checklist on this, what you emailed me. Those are checklisted off there, and I'm not quite sure why. And then there's
Are you saying
also,
addendums or the exhibits?
there's addendums on there. There's another thing that you had asked me about Brian Richter looking at it. And again, I don't have it in front of me, but there was another issue about the performance that I wasn't sure on. Did Brian look at this, Jim?
Yes, he did.
Okay, then he would have picked up on that
He's the
already.
one- He's the one that put the 818 documents in there that made this really well.
Yeah, the performance bond, maintenance bond
It's
is in
like
there
the
as well.
standard A1A.
Might have been on the other document that I was wondering why that was there. Yeah, there's
Oh,
a,
Martha, you're reading it off your phone.
yeah, on the contractor's bid statement and summation, there's having received and examined the following addenda number 3
Yeah, that-
lines. Now, is there,
They're saying they have such time to put an appeal in.
okay, but is that, of all the addendums that occurred during the first bid, been incorporated in the specifications that the architect provided to you? That's all I'm asking.
I will confirm that.
You know what I'm asking?
Yes, I do.
Because there were 3 additional addendums after the original.
I didn't realize.
Bid
I
packet.
thought this was the bid package.
Well, I don't know, I don't know, I would have assumed the architect
Yeah.
would have incorporated them in an update, right? You follow me?
We will table this. And I'll confirm that.
Well, if you need to have a special meeting, let me know.
Yeah, well,
Mhm.
Do you know, Jim? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
There were
do.
3 addendums added onto that I have it in my bid.
We don't have a
Packet.
sealed bid, going on the first time out because we thought it was $50,000. So those addendums are coming in via email. I mean, they were shared equally wide and broad. I guarantee the addendums the architect will have, Jack. So you're still using Rockbridge and Boosty.
Yes,
Give him a call. He's been very helpful, very responsive.
he was,
Tell him
yes.
what you're looking for.
Did he provide you with a final bid spec packet yet?
He gave me, I told him we needed to update the existing bid document,
Okay.
which is where I thought we were going.
Then I
was
guess
unaware
if
there
he's
were,
got it,
yeah, I will confirm that.
but we're going to need it here so
Right.
Suzanne can hand it out. I don't know. As long as you're comfortable with it.
You can go through my emails and find them. It'd be quicker just to go to Rockbridge and Boosty.
I have the whole bid packet in the office. That's why I'm asking, because it's about, and all the addendums are attached to it.
It's light reading.
I will just confirm it with him and then we'll adjust the dates.
Okay.
How big, Martha?
Well, that's the only reason I asked, because I noticed this on right here. It lists
Right,
3 lines for addendums.
I can't read that. I don't
With
know
none
how they're
listed.
reading that.
Yeah, with nothing listed. So I want to make sure there's no more addendums anymore. I want to make sure everything's incorporated in the new specifications.
will do.
Okay.
And we won't have any.
Sorry,
surprises.
I know this is
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
cumbersome.
The last thing I have is that the auditor of state is requiring some additional controls be put in place for fuel inventory and usage.
Yes,
So
Remember that one?
yes.
I will, Martha gave me some information. I'm going to reach out to police and fire and see what they're doing. I don't believe from my discussion with Mike that the diesels have any controls right now. So if we can incorporate what the police are doing onto there, that may satisfy this requirement. Outside of that, I'll work on drafting a policy that specifies what they have to do and not do
Okay.
to comply.
We talked about a video camera.
Right. And
The last board did.
this talks about it as well.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
Mhm.
So I'd like to just follow up on that as well
Okay,
as part of that.
thank you for working on that.
That's all I have.
All right. House Bill 51 allows for the virtual option, as we know. I spoke with Brian Richter after our work session last Tuesday, and he said we do not need a motion. We just need to make a decision and then allow for the 24-hour notice to our community. So do you want to make a decision as to?
Agreed?
Okay, very good. And then that way we could even potentially have a virtual option at the zoning commission meeting on Thursday. Work sessions, we currently hold them at 11:30 in the morning, and you guys were fantastic in trying to manipulate my schedule. I have since eliminated something that morning and can meet as early as 9. I think Trustee Ashelhood said she can't meet till 9:30. Would you be okay with moving the work sessions to 9:30 on
9:30 is fine.
Tuesday, what would be second and fourth Wednesdays? And we have a zoning alternate position. We had acknowledged that we want one alternate for each board. We don't have an alternate at all right now for the zoning commission. So we have one position open, and I'd like to go ahead and post that and have it open until March 16th, which would be 2 weeks from tomorrow. You agree with that?
I agree with that.
All right, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to post the zoning alternate position on the Hinckley Township website with a closing date of March 16th.
16?
Yes.
Is there a time?
Let's say, you want to do at noon? We'll say at noon. Can I get a second?
Second.
Swidek?
Yes.
Augustine?
Yes. We're going to skip the records request limit. That does not apply to us like we thought it did. Legal notice update, just for your information, speaking with the prosecutor's office, he stated that we have to be able to notice everyone without internet capabilities. So we can't just do a notice that says, go to Hinckley Township website for the notice.
No, I would agree.
He also noted that in our zoning resolution 7.2.d, it outlines the notice, which is how we're noticing now. And he said if we were to notice in a different way, we'd probably have to reduce our fees because our fees are supposed to cover the cost of the notice.
Our fees are supposed to cover the notice and any expenses that we have overall for everything.
Right. So I just wanted to give you an update on that. And I am working on the zoning fees. We're working on that. Proctor. We have a Proctor situation. I hope Jen's laughing at home. Do we have any ideas how we want to fill this Proctor position? Tonight is Jen's last night proctoring.
Did Monique was going to reach out to someone.
She did, and it was unsuccessful.
Okay.
I think that was something she mentioned at the last work session.
Did we talk with either the folks in the admin office?
I know that Suzanne is probably not going to be able to do it just because she's trying to hold down the fort over there when we're in work sessions and stuff. We could ask Lynn and see if she's amenable, but it's mostly evenings. But I can ask her.
But it could be remote.
It could be. I will ask her. She is a savvy tech gal. Okay. Good idea. And two more things. The Citizen of the Year deadline is March 14th. If anyone wants the outline for that, there's flyers on the table with the Buzzard Day flyer. Buzzard Day is March 20th at the new Hinckley Elementary. And that is all I have. Martha?
I just have the fund status right now. It is $7,005,055.36, of which $1,064,126.80 are in pooled investments, and $5,940,928.56 are in primary checking. To date, we've gotten 2 of the first half property tax advances.
Very good.
And just real quick, it's not on here, but just as a point of information, the state of Ohio Treasurer's Office, about 5 years ago, they implemented a program to encourage transparency across the state. It's called Ohio Checkbook. And just as an FYI, Hinckley Township's finances beginning in 2017 up to 2021 are available just by clicking on Ohio Checkbook, going into townships. It's broken down very, very well, very user-friendly, where you can look at the overall township expenditures and revenue. You can look at each department. You can filter down into a whole lot of different options for anyone who might like to look into that further.
Very good. Thank you, Martha.
And we submit that just because the auditor submits that. It's not the township per se that provides that information. It comes right from all of the financials that are submitted through the uniform accounting system through the Ohio State Auditor. So everything follows everything else.
Thank you, Martha. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
Total payment of $146,954.77.
Second again.
Thank you. Seconded by Sweattick.
Sweattick,
Yes.
Augustine.
Yes. All right. At this time, go to the audience. If anybody has any questions, comments, concerns.
2 questions quickly.
Jim Bialowski, 2300 Center Creek Trail. An easy question and a more difficult one. The easy one, can the trustees do a best effort to try to get in, and this is for the other departments out as well, Try to get the agendas 24 hours in advance. It's difficult. I know things change at the last minute. But a lot of times, whether you're trying to decide, is there some topic of interest at the meeting? You try to look at it either the night before or the morning of, and sometimes it's not posted till later. All I ask is best effort.
I appreciate that. Suzanne was away from the office yesterday, Friday, and I think, was she there Thursday? I can't remember, but she doesn't take very much time off, but that kind of hindered that process this week.
And it's other departments as well. It's the same thing happens, is you never really know until shortly before the meeting at times. The other one, I just would like to ask the trustees that are here, and then Monique when she's back, have they been approached or had any conversations with the county or Brunswick about any discussion regarding the annexation of the property at the corner of West 130th and 303, where the senior housing facility is going in, and potentially the drug mart?
Me personally, I have not.
Okay.
I think that's always a concern. And I think that's why we like to look at what people want to do up there and before somebody else comes in and says, well, if you're not going to do it.
Exactly. I just want to make sure that
No, I have not.
any discussions have been. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Anyone else?
Jim Larson, 20 Car Road, Hinckley. First, start off on a positive note. I too thought Mr. Schmidt was excellent. I thought he balanced everything well. I thought he was exceedingly well spoken. I thought he handled all of the questions from the audience and most of the questions from the committee really well. And
not to interrupt you, but I think you should know he was under no obligation to do that either. That's something that he did for us.
I think, it was stated in the morning meeting that, he was on the clock, and I can tell he went far over the clock and didn't skip a beat, and he was really good, especially some of the dumbest questions I've ever heard asked in a public forum. I thought he did pretty well, and I'm not alone in that opinion. Second,
You just have one.
excuse me. Second,
Hit the button on your microphone and make sure it's green. Okay, perfect.
Green.
Thank you.
Second, you'd mentioned in your comments about a post last night, and it had to do with Kabbalah Farms or whatever they're calling that place now. And it seemed to link your comments relative to our comments about the committee to that notice that went out. I don't care one way or another whether that place gets built or it doesn't get built. As long as they follow the zoning code, I don't care. And I don't know anybody that we work with who really has any axe to grind with it. So I didn't read all the comments, but it looked more like an advertising pitch than anything else. And from what I'm aware of, they've got a significant road to go before the zoning commission or whoever the authorities be in Hinckley that have to bless that as a viable project can move on with it. So I don't have any issue at all with that project at all. So I just think you left the impression that that is a joint issue with all the things that we don't like about the committee.
Well, let me clarify that.
Okay, and I was going to ask you to do that.
I'm going to clarify that. Social media is not the place for factual township information. I think I made that pretty clear.
Yes.
But that was an example
Yep.
of social media not being a factual place. Hinckley Township no longer has a Facebook page. We used to have one. I started it in 2017 and ran it until it ended at the end of 2019. We don't have a place like that. So if people want factual township information, the best thing to do is not to get on your phone and go to Facebook. It's to get on your phone and email or call or text your township.
Yeah, well, that post really did stir the pot up for a lot of people who really haven't been following a whole lot. All they see is another development and oh no, and down the road you go with complaints and worries and hand wringing and everything else. But I say our little group of people didn't think one way or another about it. I mean, as long as they follow all the rules and do what they need to do, I mean, I don't care one way or another whether it goes in or it doesn't go in. So, getting back to your long presentation, I can appreciate exactly how long it took you to put all that
Thank
stuff in there.
It worked on.
I mean, it is no easy task. Having said that, you've stated that, we cherry picked a lot of our answers. Well, we cherry picked the most consequential answers, just as you cherry picked many of the things you gave as examples. And, we are never going to agree to agree. I think the most significant questions that we picked out are the most consequential questions. Had to do with conservation district, had to do with water and zoning, that kinds of. I think we picked out the most important ones. And I know that when I spoke to you guys about it, I tried to state as clearly as I could that there was a lot more information other than yes or no. And you've included a lot of the not yes or no answers in there. But, it's your opinion. We have our opinion. And I think from an attitude point of view and the most important questions, that's where the bias and skewing lies. And you can talk about age and sizes of property and all that other stuff, all the demographics that you consider important, that the other two trustees at the time considered important, that really, I don't think are all that important. To you, they are. To me, they're not. We're just going to agree to disagree. So, I think we're, the genie's out of the bottle. The committee's formed. They're, on the way to coming to the conclusions or gathering the information that you want. And I'm just hoping that there are balanced attitude when it comes to seeing what some of the decisions that come from the community are. Clearly, I don't want to see a whole lot of development downtown. I'd like to see a whole lot of improvement in the infrastructure downtown that would enhance the buildings and the businesses that are already here. I think conservation districts, frankly, most of the problems with conservation districts were cleared with the inclusion of all the text amendments that happened, 4 or 5 months ago. The things that made me dislike Redwood so much were fixed with all those text amendments. The creation of the 20-acre lot with no houses on it, the inclusion of the 20-acre lot in the yield plan that jammed all the houses to the front of the property, to the side of the property, and everywhere else. Those things, I think, were fixed. I mean, I don't really care a whole lot whether the setback is 300 feet or 500 feet. It just needs to be greater than it is. And I don't have any axe to grind at all against anybody who lives over in Redwood. But if somebody asks me what I think of it, I'm going to tell you I think the development is ugly. It doesn't look like anything it should be in Hinckley. And it's a head scratcher how all of these oversights came to be that allowed that development to get to look the way it is. So nothing can be done about it. I just hope to God we don't see any more of them that are that dense and that crowded, that close to the road, and were granted so many concessions that were just unexplainable when you look back through all the minutes, which I have, and from the Medina County planning to the minutes to the zoning commission and so forth and so on, just to try and understand how it came to be. So Redwood, it's water under the bridge, but I still reserve the right to have my opinion, to not like it. Doesn't mean I don't like the people that are living there. And I would certainly like to talk to, I forget, is it Easterling, Mr. Easterling that lives there? I'd certainly like to sit down there and go over every reason why I don't like it, show him on paper all the stuff that minutes and diagrams and maps and so forth, and how it came to be. Maybe you'll understand it. He may not agree with me or not, but he seems like a reasonable guy. But I'd really love to have the chance to explain it to him, and I'll approach him at one point or another to try and do that. But anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Anyone else?
Just a general, if we can continue to encourage the public, if they have questions they would like to see in the potentially in the survey, to email Arthur. We've asked some people to do it. We put it out there just saying, if you have stuff you'd like to see as part of the survey that will be done, please submit the questions to him so we can consolidate everything and then advise whatever that survey is going to look like.
That's exactly what he's working on. And I am working on the 2015 questions based on our conversation. Thank you.
Hi, Jim Burns, 216 Lake Crest Boulevard, Hinckley, Ohio. Thank you for allowing me to take the podium here and have some comments. I came here to discuss several topics that are related and disparate in some ways. My response here is about Protect Hinckley's claim that the trustees didn't produce a fair and balanced steering committee. Protect Hinckley's assessment of those chosen comes from extreme bias, misrepresentation of the entire data set, and misquotes of former trustees. The bigoted opinions of Protect Hinckley do not build a community, they tear it down. Are you the trustees kowtowing to this temper tantrum because Protect Hinckley did not get the representation they desired? This is first grade behavior. No one in the previous administration promised any applicant a seat at this table. I looked for applicants that had open minds, were willing to appreciate the forethought of the previous 20 years of citizens that they put time and effort into developing the comprehensive plan and the conservation districts. These people numbered in the many hundreds. To ignore them would have been wrong. I chose applicants that had progressive ideas about how our community will develop, and I emphasize will develop continually. To think development won't continue to occur is to put your head in the sand. I chose applicants for all the many parts of the township as promised. Melissa, I cannot commend you enough. You did a wonderful job and spent enormous amounts of time condensing that in a really good PowerPoint. Thank you. I chose that, and basically I'm reiterating some of the same things you saw and reported. I know the other trustees put the same forethought and effort into selecting the final quality candidate pool. Is this bias claim made by Hinckley part of the cancel culture that plagues our government and institutions? Let's erase what we've done, start all over again. Ms. Long's misrepresentation of my statements at the last trustee meeting by stating prior board of trustees said that the committee would be fair and balanced representation the applicants received. I never said that in the committee would represent the applicants. And in November 2021, the Hinckley Record reported correctly the trustees are in the process of reviewing applications in order to select a diverse group representing a broad select section of our community, not just those that applied for this position. I also mentioned in October 5th, 2021, the trustees meeting that I felt the township needed to be divided up through a qualitative process, which the analysis of Protect Hinckley did not provide completely. Selecting only data that one feels is favorable is bad analysis. I hope trustees saw through this ruse. It's a powerful reason to disregard their claim of a bad process. The analysis completed by and presented on Facebook do not consider the demographic data. This was one of the most important factors in the committee selection, a diverse population from all sections of Hinckley. Your graph showed clearly we picked a very broad section of Hinckley Township. The application questionnaire was developed to help the trustees and independent third-party representatives ensure a broad representation of the community, which will be present at each meeting. The applicant poll from only 1% of our community was not a random selection from the entire community. That poll was too small to be used for statistical purposes. It was better for developing the big picture of the applicants from the applicants' responses. Reliable statistical data cannot be generated based on these and other factors. The goal of any steering committee should be to have residents who represent a wide range of backgrounds and community sectors that can avoid groupthink and truly embody a community's diverse interests. keeping progress and development in mind. The trustees and independent third-party representatives did that successfully. Thank you very much, Mr. Kalina, Trustee Augustine. A conservation district will still be a planned unit development whereby the administration, the people's elected representatives, you and Ms. Asherle, the service department, the zoning departments, they all have a say in how our conservation developments are built out. To remove conservation districts now from the comprehensive plan is an invitation for a lawsuit. Mark my words, in 30 to 40 years' time, the only large swaths of land in this community will be those held in conservation. All other properties will be developed by our 2-acre norm, will look like all the other houses, house after house after house, forests leveled to make room for large homes, driveways, and manicured lawns. Conservation districts are essential. They're not there for you, they're for nature. You're welcome to visit and take only pictures. Trustees, do not let the tail wag the dog. Motion this matter to the floor and put this to rest so you waste no more of your time and township money on this matter. And a similar note regarding the water question and water in general. I'm quoting Nikki Long from Protect Hinckley in an email exchange that she had with me while I was a trustee. Her quote directly, "I do not think it is the responsibility of government to fix water problem for a small group of residents. I think the township can certainly help to facilitate conversations with people to help find solutions, but I do not think the government should be trying to solve that problem for them. I believe people need to take responsibility for the problems that arise with their personal property." I beg to differ. This is a quote from Protect Hinckley's facilitator. She is unabashedly wrong. That is exactly the purpose of government, to provide water to a community that has insufficient water, poor water quality, toxic, contaminated water, or too many citizens drawing from a limited underground aquifer. Case in point, I lived in Copley Township, and not a quarter mile away was a dry cleaner, a small dry cleaner, dumping trichloroethane into the ground. He contaminated the wells in that area, and the federal government had to come in and provide a cleanup and reverse osmosis systems to many, many residents. Mr. Kalina has a similar story where his water, to no fault of his own, was contaminated in Medina Township. The government does have a responsibility. Lutheran Church suffers from poor water quality. The old elementary school suffers from poor water quality. All the township buildings suffer from either or both poor water quality and insufficient water. Our government has provided us a $700,000+ tranche of grant money, which was earmarked by the previous trustees to bring water into this downtown area. This massive tranche of money is a once-in-a-generation lifetime gift. You trustees can put your heads in the sand and hope water situation doesn't worsen. As a leader of this community, you must think 30, 50, 100 years in advance. Clean, abundant drinking water is a necessity to a community. It is not always there, and now it's the time to begin construction on a new water line into downtown. Show me a community without a secure potable water source, and I'll show you a ghost town. I only have one other section to talk, if you'll give me just a moment, please. And then finally, it's about, this is short, much shorter. It's about the power of the trustees to change land usage, just for an educational purpose for the general public more than you. Much of my previous 2 years as a trustee were spent debating issues of land use, how the trails of Redwood Falls looked, the senior housing project, building of Drug Mart in our western border district. Landowners have a legal right to build those properties as per the zoning regulations. And the best the trustees can do is to work with the developers to create the best compromise solution. Without compromise, the developer would have free reign and no input from the township representatives as to the outcome, provided they follow the zoning regulations. The power to change land usage lies in our judicial and legislative branches of our township government. It is outside the purview of the trustees, except in the case of adopting into regulation changes adopted by the legislative branch, your zoning commission. Complain all you want to the trustees, but their hands are tied by law. The trustee zoning regulations and ORC, if you don't own the land, you can't control the land. I have a little more, but I will conclude at this moment. I think you get the gist of my response. Thank you very much for your time and effort into the presentation. I hope you do the right thing, put this to bed and stop wasting township time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You call it Satan worship, so that's something to say for that.
Do you want to have further conversation about adding members, or are you done for the day?
We'll wait for the full board.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Okay. At this time, I'd like to adjourn the meeting at 7:40 p.m.
Second.
Seconded by Sweattick. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
I can tell you those things.
All right, stop the meeting.
How many viewers? 17? 15?